A young girl who goes through a difficult experience begins to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real-life friends have grown up. Before I proceed, to show me you're a lover of movies, please hit the subscribe button to get more contents like these. This story begins with a 12-year-old girl named Bee, who moves in with her grandmother Margaret while her father waits for heart surgery at the same hospital where her mother had died. Later that day, Bee visits her father in the hospital. To make her smile, he starts playing like a little child. Bee tells him, "You don't have to treat me like a kid because life doesn't have to be fun sometimes," which is her way of expressing how much she misses her mother. That night, while watching television in the living room, Bee hears a loud noise coming from upstairs. She discovers the noise is coming from her late mother's closet. Inside, she finds her mother's old camcorder. Bee buys a charger for the camcorder and, upon returning, encounters a bizarre creature named Blossom. She chases Blossom to see where it goes. She follows the creature to a room where she hears voices. Peeping through a hole in the doorknob, she is told to go away by a man named Cal, which frightens her into retreating to her apartment and locking the door. The following night, Bee spots the creature again. This time with Cal. She follows them and watches as Cal tries to enter a house through a window. She witnesses him collecting a giant, furry purple creature named Blue. As she tries to run from the scene, a butterfly-type creature appears, causing Bee to faint. When she wakes up, Cal tells her they have met before, but she was younger at the time. Bee, confused, asks if there are more imaginary friends like Blossom and Blue. Cal explains that he runs an operation similar to a matchmaking agency to help imaginary friends find new kids. Despite initial skepticism, Bee decides to help Cal. The next day, Cal and Bee visit the Memory Lane retirement home, located underneath an old amusement park called Coney Island. Inside, Bee is amazed to see numerous imaginary friends of various kinds. Cal introduces Bee to an elderly teddy bear named Louis. When Cal neglects to show Bee around, Louis steps in, encouraging Bee to use her imagination, much to Cal's annoyance. In the process, Cal trips over an invisible if named Keith, further irritating him. The next morning, Bee attempts to match one of the imaginary friends with a young boy named Benjamin, but Benjamin cannot see them, leaving Bee disheartened. Louis suggests that imaginary friends may not need new owners but rather need to be reunited with their original ones. Bee talks to her grandmother, who shows her an old picture of herself with Blossom in the background. Realizing Blossom is her grandmother's Bee plays one of Margaret's old records and encourages her to dance. This triggers Margaret's memory of Blossom, restoring her hope. Following clues, Bee, Cal, and Blue track down Blue's original owner, a man named Jeremy, who is now grown up and starting his own business. After an initial failure, they remind Jeremy of Blue by bringing croissants to his place. Blue starts to change color and, touching Jeremy's shoulder, rekindles their bond. That night, Bee receives bad news from Margaret that her father's operation went wrong. Rushing upstairs, Bee is comforted by Cal, who advises her to tell her father a story. At the hospital, her father tries to keep things fun, but she insists on being serious, expressing how much she still needs him. This emotional moment wakes him up. Bee shares the good news with her grandmother but realizes all the imaginary friends have vanished. When she goes to thank Cal, no one answers. The landlady explains that the door Bee was trying to open leads to an old storage room. Upon her father's release from the hospital, they return home. While packing the car, Bee sees a picture of a clown named Calvin and realizes Cal is her own whom she had forgotten after her mother's death. She closes her eyes, remembers all the imaginary friends, and reunites with Cal. Margaret, too, reveals she can see Blossom. In the end, Cal reunites the imaginary friends with their original owners, now all grown up. And Benjamin meets his a dragon with glasses. Bee and her father return home, where he trips over his invisible Keith. And that's how the story goes. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe, like and drop a comment for more contents like these.